What if I told you that everything you believe to be real is nothing more than a well-rehearsed theater? That your ambitions, your fears, your very identity are just reflections of a deep conditioning so carefully engineered that you don't even realize you're trapped. You don't think for yourself, you repeat. You don't truly choose, you obey. And worse, you think you are free. But then, who are you? An awakened being? Or just another character in a script written before you were even born? Krishnamurti was one of the few who screamed what no one wants to hear. Life is an illusion, and only those who are truly alive perceive this. Everything around you, society, relationships, the rules you follow without questioning, are part of a grand trick. But if everything is an illusion, there's a question few dare to ask. Is there anything that is real? If you have the courage, keep watching until the end. If not, you can go back to your bubble. Imagine waking up one day and discovering that everything you've lived until now was a lie. Your dreams, your fears, your identity, none of it came from you. It was placed there, programmed, molded, inserted into your mind like invisible software. Since childhood, you were taught to obey before questioning, to accept before doubting. The world pushed beliefs, values, and rules onto you as absolute truths. But who said they are truths? Who decided that success is money, that love is possession, that being is having? Have you ever stopped to ask whether you truly chose all of this? Society is a perfect theater, a great stage where everyone plays their role without realizing they never wrote their own script. And when someone deviates, when someone dares to step outside the script, what happens? They're silenced, ridiculed, called crazy. Krishnamurti saw this with brutal clarity. He said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." And yet, we continue adjusting. We keep running, competing, consuming, seeking approval as if life had a final objective, an invisible trophy that no one really knows what it is. But what if all of this is an illusion? Think of those who spent their entire lives chasing something, and upon reaching it, found only emptiness. The businessman who sacrificed everything to become rich and discovers that money doesn't fill the void. The artist who dreamed of fame, and upon achieving it feels lonelier than ever. The couple who marries believing they found a happy ending, and later finds themselves trapped in a meaningless routine. Why? Because they lived inside the illusion. Because they believed in a promise that never fulfills itself. And here's what makes it unbearable. You watch them chase these hollow victories, and you absolutely know that when they arrive at their destination, there will be nothing there. The businessman will stand in his mansion surrounded by expensive things that mean nothing. The famous artist will smile for cameras while dying inside. The married couple will wake up next to a stranger they promised forever to, wondering when the love turned to obligation. This isn't pessimism, this is observation. This is what happens when you build your entire existence on foundations that were never real to begin with. The tragedy deepens when you realize these people can't stop. They've invested too much. Decades of their lives, relationships sacrificed, health destroyed, all for a destination that was always a mirage. And when they finally arrive and find nothing, they can't admit it. So they pretend. They post the happy photos. They tell everyone they've made it. They wear the mask of success while rotting underneath. Because admitting the truth would mean acknowledging that they wasted their entire existence chasing a lie. And that truth is more painful than continuing the charade. Krishnamurti does not soften the blow. The human mind is corrupted by the illusion of the self. You are not free. You are a product of your culture, your family, your religion, your history. You are a construction, and everything you think is true may simply be a reflection of an invisible prison. But if everything is illusion, is there anything that is real? That is what we are beginning to uncover. Have you ever asked yourself who you really are? Before answering, think about this. When you were born, your mind was a blank page. There was no name, no nationality, no religion, ideology, tastes, or beliefs. You were nothing, just a pure being, free, without labels. But then they began to teach you. They told you your name, your religion, what is right and wrong. They told you what to believe, what to dream of, what to fear. And little by little, you became this construction. Without noticing, you were programmed to identify with something you were not born with. Now tell me, if all of this was placed inside you, who are you without these influences? Krishnamurti was direct. You think freely, but your thoughts are merely reflections of the society you were raised in. And this is brutal, because if your thoughts are not yours, your desires are not yours either. You want what you were taught to want. You seek happiness in the same places you were told to look: money, success, love, status, without ever asking if any of that truly fills something inside you.
The cruelty of this realization cuts deeper than any physical wound. At least with physical pain, you know where it comes from and when it might end. But this is discovering that the person you thought you were doesn't exist, that every conversation you've had with yourself was between two fictions, that the voice in your head you call me is just an echo chamber of everyone else's voices, your parents, your teachers, your culture, your trauma, all of it speaking through you, pretending to be you. Now look at your life. Every decision you've ever made, was it really yours? The clothes you wear, the job you chose, the person you're with, the way you see yourself in the mirror. Did you choose that, or was it chosen for you? The human mind cannot tolerate emptiness, so to avoid the anguish of not knowing who it is, it clings to ready-made identities. And so we go on wearing masks, living inside labels, acting in roles we don't even know make sense. Think about the people you admire, the ones you consider authentic, original, truly themselves. Now strip away their clothes, their possessions, their achievements, their relationships. Take away their memories, their stories, their traumas. What's left? A biological machine running programs installed by others. They're no more free than you are. They just have better marketing. They've convinced themselves and others that their particular set of conditioned responses is somehow more genuine than everyone else's. But it's all the same prison, just different cell decorations. And you know what's saddest? Even when we realize this, we're afraid to abandon the illusion, because without it, who would we be? Society teaches us to run from silence, from loneliness, from the absence of stimulation. Have you noticed how we always need something to distract us? Our phone, music, empty conversations, social media. Because if we stay in silence too long, we might realize what we don't want to see, that behind everything there is an immense void. This void is not poetic. It's not some mystical emptiness that brings enlightenment in movies. It's the raw, terrifying realization that you've spent decades constructing an identity that has no foundation. It's waking up and understanding that every achievement, every relationship, every moment of pride was built on sand, and now the tide is coming in. What do you grab onto when everything you thought was solid dissolves? People will do anything to avoid this void. They'll create drama to feel alive. They'll start fights to feel something real. They'll fall in love with the wrong person just to avoid being alone with themselves. They'll work themselves to exhaustion, drink themselves numb, medicate themselves into oblivion. Anything, absolutely anything, to not face the silence. Because in that silence, all the carefully constructed lies collapse, and what remains is unbearable. Krishnamurti said the only way to find truth is to cross this void without fear. But most people don't want that. They prefer the comforting illusion. They prefer to believe they are their ideas, their opinions, their story, because the truth is frightening. Arthur Schopenhauer, another great thinker, had an even darker view. For him, life is suffering, and full awareness of this leads to despair. He said human beings are condemned to eternally desire something that will never fully satisfy them. But Krishnamurti went further. The problem is not desire. The problem is believing that we are our desire. Now think about this. If everything you believe yourself to be was taught to you, what remains when all of that disappears? Who are you without your name? Who are you without your memories? Who are you without your beliefs? If these questions make you uncomfortable, congratulations, you are beginning to see the bars of the prison. The question now is, do you have the courage to leave it? But let's be honest about what leaving means. It means watching everyone you know continue their sleep while you're awake. It means seeing through every social interaction, every conversation, every relationship, and recognizing the patterns, the scripts, the performances. It means being unable to unsee the machinery of human behavior once you've glimpsed behind the curtain. You'll be surrounded by people, but utterly alone, because they're still dreaming, and you can't go back to sleep. Have you ever wondered why the truth is never taught from childhood? We're taught to read, write, do math, but no one teaches us how to truly think. No one teaches us to look inward and ask, who am I? What am I doing here? Does life have a purpose, or is it just an empty cycle of being born, working, and dying? This is not a coincidence. This is control. Krishnamurti said the entire social structure is based on fear. Fear is the root of obedience. Now stop and think. What drives your life? Fear of losing money, fear of not being accepted, fear of failure, fear of loneliness, fear of death. Fear controls everything. It defines how we behave, what we choose, who we become, and society knows this.
That's why we are bombarded by fear all the time. Governments use fear to keep us obedient. Religions use fear to keep us submissive. The market uses fear to make us consume. Culture uses fear to make us fit into patterns. Now think about what happens when you question this. When someone begins to see beyond the illusion, the world reacts as if that person were a threat, because they are. The system doesn't need conscious people. It needs conforming people. It needs workers who don't question why they trade their entire lives for a paycheck that barely covers their survival. It needs consumers who believe the next purchase will finally make them complete. It needs believers who accept suffering as divine plan rather than systemic design. Awakening to the truth is not comfortable. The truth is dangerous. It destroys everything you thought you knew. That's why most people prefer illusion. They prefer a comforting lie to a brutal reality. And here's the most disturbing part. The system doesn't even need to work hard to keep you trapped. You imprison yourself. You police your own thoughts. You silence your own doubts. You punish yourself for stepping out of line before anyone else even notices. The chains are invisible because you forged them yourself, link by link, choice by choice, compromise by compromise, until you can't remember what freedom even felt like. Watch how people react when you suggest they're not free. They'll defend their chains with religious fervor. They'll explain why their particular prison is actually a palace. They'll argue that their conditioning is actually their authentic self. They'll fight you to protect the very illusions that are destroying them, because admitting they're trapped means admitting they've been complicit in their own imprisonment, and that guilt is harder to bear than the chains themselves. Krishnamurti warned that real freedom is not choosing between limited options, but seeing that the very need to choose is an illusion. What does that mean? That from the moment you were born, all your choices were manipulated. You think you decide, but you were conditioned to choose within a closed system. Now look at history. What happened to Socrates, who challenged society's mindset? He was condemned to death. What happened to Galileo, who questioned the dominant view of the universe? He was silenced and persecuted. What happens today to anyone who exposes uncomfortable truths? They're ridiculed, attacked, discredited. The system doesn't need to kill you, it just needs to turn you into a madman in the eyes of others. After all, who will believe someone who says everything is an illusion? Who will take seriously someone who claims that life is a theater and that we've spent years playing a character without knowing it? But what if that person is right? What if at this very moment you are so deeply asleep that you don't even notice the chains holding you? What would you do if you truly saw the truth? Most people react in two ways when they glimpse the illusion. They despair because they realize everything was false, or they return to the illusion because the void of absolute freedom is terrifying. Schopenhauer said that man can do what he wills, but cannot will what he wills. That means our will is not ours. It was shaped before we were even born. Think about your deepest desires right now. That career you want? Someone told you it was prestigious. That body you want? Society showed you what's attractive. That life you want? Media programmed you to crave it. Even your rebellion is scripted. Even your uniqueness is mass-produced. The counterculture becomes the culture, the revolution becomes the establishment, and you keep believing you're the exception, that your choices are somehow more authentic than everyone else's. The punk who rebels against conformity by conforming to punk culture, the spiritual seeker who escapes materialism by consuming spiritual products, the intellectual who prides themselves on critical thinking while parroting academic orthodoxy. Everyone believes they've escaped the matrix while living in a different room of the same prison. The bars are different colors, but they're still bars. So I ask again, what remains when you realize everything was manipulated? If you've made it this far, congratulations, you've seen the prison door. But now comes the hardest part. Do you have the courage to walk through it? The truth hurts. It hurts because it destroys. It hurts because once you see it, there's no going back. Imagine spending your entire life believing you are walking towards something, a purpose, a reward, an ending that makes it all worth it. And then, one day, you discover there is nothing at the end of the path. What do? Arthur Schopenhauer believes this realization leads to despair. For him, life is suffering. We are born with desires that will never be fully satisfied. We spend our days seeking pleasure and fleeing pain, only to discover that any joy is temporary and suffering always returns. Now, look at your own life. Haven't you noticed this curse repeating over and over? You want money, you get some, but it's never enough. You want a relationship, you find someone, but then you miss freedom. You want success, you work hard, but when you get there, you still aren't satisfied. The human being is a prisoner of desire, never complete, never at peace. This is the machinery of human existence laid bare. We are perpetual motion machines of dissatisfaction, forever chasing the next thing that promises fulfillment but delivers only temporary distraction from the emptiness. And the worst part? We know this. Deep down, we've always known this. But we keep playing the game because the alternative, stopping, sitting still, facing the void, is more terrifying than the suffering we know. Look at the elderly, those who've lived long enough to see the pattern repeat countless times. Do they seem satisfied? Do they seem at peace? Most carry regret like stones in their pockets, regret for chances not taken, words not spoken, lives not lived. But also regret for the chances they did take, the words they did speak, the lives they did live, because it all led to the same place, here, now, approaching the end, still unsatisfied, still searching, still hoping the next moment will finally be the one that makes sense of all the others. For Schopenhauer, the only escape was to renounce desire, live with as little as possible, and accept that life has no greater purpose beyond suffering. But Krishnamurti saw this prison differently. For him, it's not life that suffers, it's the mind. He said the problem isn't desire itself, but believing that we are our desires. When we want something desperately, we suffer because we fear not getting it. When we get it, we suffer because we fear losing it. When we lose it, we feel empty. What if the problem isn't life, but the way we were conditioned to see it? Krishnamurti said, "Truth is a state of perception without fear." While Schopenhauer saw existence as an unavoidable curse, Krishnamurti offered another vision. The illusion of the self can be dissolved. The big question is this: is suffering inherent to life, as Schopenhauer believed, or is it just an illusion created by the mind, as Krishnamurti said? Most people can't handle this conversation. The idea that there is no purpose, that everything we seek is a mental construction, is crushing. Look around you. See how many people are fleeing silence, loneliness, full awareness. That's why there's so much entertainment, so much consumption, so much distraction. Because when someone stops to reflect, the abyss opens. Schopenhauer said full awareness leads to despair. Krishnamurti, on the other hand, saw awareness is liberation. Between the two, Schopenhauer saw the illusion and despaired. Krishnamurti saw the illusion and smiled. Schopenhauer saw life as a nightmare we cannot wake up from. Krishnamurti saw life as a dream, and once we realize it's a dream, we can begin to truly live. But what does it mean to truly live when you've seen through the dream? It means existing in a world where everything matters and nothing matters simultaneously. It means caring deeply while knowing none of it ultimately means anything.
It means loving people who don't exist in the way you thought they did. It means building sandcastles while watching the tide come in. It's not liberation in the way people fantasize about liberation. It's something stranger, darker, more uncomfortable than that. Now I ask you, which side are you on? If everything you've lived so far was an illusion, do you choose to keep sleeping, or are you ready to wake up? The choice is yours. The human brain is a machine of deception. It does not seek truth, it seeks safety. Science has already proven that the mind is a massive filter. It doesn't see the world as it truly is, but as it needs it to be to maintain sanity. From childhood, every experience, belief, and fear creates neural circuits that shape your perception of reality. You don't see the world objectively, you see it through the lens of your conditioning. Your brain is lying to you right now. This very second, it's filtering out most of reality, showing you only what it thinks you need to survive. It's creating a narrative about who you are, stitching together fragments of memory and sensation into a coherent story that has no basis in objective truth. You are not experiencing reality. You are experiencing your brain's best guess at reality, filtered through years of trauma, conditioning, and evolutionary programming designed for survival, not truth. Now imagine this. You're walking down the street and see someone looking at you. Your mind instantly creates a story. They're judging me. They must be thinking something bad about me. Maybe there's something wrong with my face. But the truth could be simple. The person might just be distracted, lost in their own thoughts. This is living proof that we don't react to reality, we react to our interpretations of reality. And this is exactly what Krishnamurti said: the greatest illusion is believing that we think freely. Science confirms this. Neuroscience studies show that our decisions are made before we're even conscious of them. The brain decides first, then creates the illusion that we chose. In other words, your identity, your story, your pain, your desires, everything may just be a set of automatic mental patterns.
The implications are devastating. Every moment you thought you were making a conscious choice, your brain had already decided. Every time you believed you were exercising free will, you were actually watching a decision that had already been made and convincing yourself you made it. You are a passenger in your own life, watching a movie and believing you're the director. The sense of agency, of control, of being the author of your own existence, it's all retroactive justification for processes you had no conscious involvement in. If this is true, the final question is, how do we escape? Krishnamurti didn't believe in gurus, masters, or systems. He said the only possible revolution is an inner revolution. Modern science confirms this. Neuroplasticity shows that the brain can be reprogrammed. If your mind is a prison built by years of conditioning, then the only way to be free is to dismantle that prison brick by brick. But how? First, observe your own mind without judgment. Krishnamurti said, observation without choice is the highest form of intelligence. This means that instead of fighting thoughts and emotions, you simply observe them. For example, when fear, anger, envy, or desire arise, pause and just observe. Where did this feeling come from? Who put it there? Is it truly yours, or was it implanted? Neuroscience confirms that mindfulness can rewire the brain. When you observe your thoughts without reacting, you weaken the automatic patterns that control your life. Second, question everything you believe to be true. Since childhood, you were taught that some things are good and others bad. But who decided that? Krishnamurti said every belief is a form of prison. The only way to discover truth is to not believe anything blindly, not even what I say, nor what anyone else says. Science calls this critical thinking, the ability to question information before accepting it. Few people do this. Most simply absorb what they're taught without investigation. So ask yourself, what in my life is truly mine, and what was imposed? Third, abandon the search for security. Krishnamurti said the desire for security is the root of fear. Society teaches us to seek stability, a good job, a safe marriage, money saved, absolute certainties. But life is not stable. Everything changes constantly. Science shows that the brain hates uncertainty because it activates fear centers. But when we train the mind to accept the unknown, something surprising happens. Anxiety decreases and the brain adapts. This means that instead of fighting life's flow, we learn to flow with it. But let's be brutally honest about what this actually means. Abandoning security means accepting that everyone you love will die, that everything you build will crumble, that every moment of happiness is already dying as you experience it, that your body is deteriorating right now, cells dying, systems failing, slowly marching toward the inevitable end, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. This isn't motivational. This is reality without the comforting lies. Your parents are dying right now, cell by cell, day by day. Your children, if you have them, are moving toward the same fate. Everyone you've ever loved, everyone who's ever loved you is temporary. The relationships you cling to for meaning will end through death, betrayal, distance, or simply the slow erosion of time. And you know this. You've always known this, but you pretend you don't because the alternative is unbearable. Fourth, accept the void. It is your freedom. This is the hardest step. The mind always seeks fulfillment. We always want something, success, recognition, love, happiness. But what if true freedom lies in wanting nothing? Schopenhauer saw the void as a curse. For him, realizing life has no meaning was unbearable. But Krishnamurti saw the void as the gateway to true freedom. When you stop seeking an external purpose, a meaning imposed by society, religion, or ego, life becomes light. Science confirms this. Higher states of consciousness, such as those reached by experienced meditators, show that when the mind drops the illusion of the self, a deep sense of peace and wholeness emerges. Now think, what if the peace you've been searching for was always there, hidden beneath all the illusions you were taught? You made it this far. You saw the illusion being dismantled. You realized that your identity, your desires, your fears, everything may just be a mental game. Now comes the final question. Do you have the courage to let go of all of it? There is no promise of eternal happiness. There is no paradise waiting. What there is reality, without filters, without stories, without illusions. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough. Krishnamurti said, "Truth is a pathless land. You must discover it for yourself." Now the decision is in your hands. Return to the illusion or step through the portal of consciousness. The choice is yours. At this point, you've already realized that reality isn't quite what it seems. You felt that something is wrong with the world, but never knew how to explain it. Now you know. We are trapped in an illusion, living a script we never wrote. But here, on this channel, you don't receive ready-made answers. You receive provocations that will challenge everything you think you know. If you've made it this far, it's because you feel there is something greater to be discovered. So why stop now? Become a channel member and gain access to exclusive content that will expand your mind even further. Secret discussions, extra materials, and deep reflections only for those who truly want to step out of the illusion. And if this video resonated with you, if it opened a crack in your perception, consider using super thanks to support this work. Nothing here is superficial, nothing here is easy, but the truth was never for the weak. The question is, do you just want to watch, or are you ready to actively participate in this awakening? The choice, as always, is yours.